Shalom, this is lesson 15 at YouTube channel Israel Reclaiming the Birthright, and I'm Ron Singer, your host. We're going to discuss Shabbat Nachamu. In Parshat V'Etchanan, we have a clear example of the gravity of the sin of Adam. Remember we spoke about that? You find it in Hosea chapter 6, verse 7, and in Job, chapter 31, verse 33. We know it's not Eve's sin that we're talking about. It makes it very clear here. What Adam did was he added to God's command. That's why Eve was able to say we're not allowed to touch it. A similar thing happened to Moshe. The people were complaining they wanted water at Merivah. The second time that the people complained about water, Hashem told Moshe to raise his staff and speak to the rock. But Moshe did something different. He added to God's command and he struck the rock. And for that, not having given the kavod to Hashem, God forbade him from entering the land. And in Parshat V'Etchanan, Moshe makes the request again, and he says that Hashem wouldn't allow him, got angry at him for the sake of the people. Lamanechem. It's for our sake, so that we have an understanding deep in our souls of the gravity of adding to God's written command. Our history of doing this and formalizing it has been disastrous. And so hopefully we're going to change this. There's a prophecy in Hosea which says that the people of Israel will come seeking their God in the end of days, and David their king. They will seek God trembling. I imagine that by the time this war of Gog and Magog is finished, we will either be rescued by Hashem's mercy because we've done something to earn it, or, God forbid, there are two prophecies, one Zechariah 13:8, which you should read and see what the gravity is of defying Hashem by adding and subtracting to his written word and not making the proper tikkun. And you can look at Isaiah 6:13 as well. And I'm hoping that my people in the diaspora and in Israel, will make this tikkun by picking up the Tanach, as we've discussed at Israel Reclaiming the Birthright. The blessings are our birthright, and doing what Hashem is telling us. And of course we can move from chapter to chapter, from book to book, because we're looking for understanding of Hashem, which he tells us we can do. One of the places is Jeremiah 9:23. We can know Hashem. In this Parshat V'Etchanan, Hashem is telling us that if we obey him and the nations see the wisdom that we have, the life that we have, they will see what a wonderful people that has his God, its God so near when we call. Well, I know that people have called to God and we've still had a Holocaust and all the horrible punishments and curses along the way for 2,000 years. So I hope that rather than come trembling to Hashem at the end of days because these horrific prophecies come true and create a Holocaust, that you'll take Parshat V'Etchanan seriously. Moshe simply struck the rock, which seems like very little. He just added a little something, like Adam added a little something. Like our people who have leaders that add a lot of something over the years and think it's fine, even when it's contradictory to Hashem's desire, and even when the punishments are like a tidal wave swallowing us. So please, this is the end of days. All the nations in the war of Gog and Magog that are mentioned in the book of Genesis, they're amongst us. They're waving their hands and telling us they're ready. But we're not ready. Hashem has allowed us to develop a marvelous army with incredible innovations and technologies. And we certainly can defeat our enemies. That's already been decided, not by us, but by our Creator. But we can't stop every projectile from striking our land if a massive launch is made. We know the effectiveness of all our weapon systems, and so do you. So the only weapon system we have ignored is our Creator. And Parshat V'Etchanan, the Shabbat Nachamu, is our ticket to liberating ourselves from any evil curses and punishments if we do the tshuva, not the way we've been brainwashed, but the way Hashem wants. It's very simple. We have 10 commandments. We have a Shabbat. We know there's no Shabbos goy. We're told over and over again that the diet is vegan. It's not a deal breaker. Eat some fish. But remember in Numbers 11, the eating of meat was a rejection of God. So if you love God, you want to know Him, and you want to be able to call upon Him. And you want to be able to call upon Hashem to be merciful to us, to our soldiers, and to our people, and defeat our enemy with His miracles. One of the prophecies for this end of days scenario is that the miracles that happened during the Exodus from Egypt will be somewhat dwarfed by what we see coming around the bend. The price of it is up to each one of us. So my recommendation is work with your Tanach, read it, study it, come to know God. He is near unto us, and He's willing to save us, but we have to earn it. The prayer that we've been doing by rote is not a substitution for you studying and finding out what Hashem wants and doing it. So please, don't be misled. I mean, even Rambam says that rote prayer is vulgar. And we talked about Isaiah 29:12 to 13:14, where Hashem lambasts us because we come near to Him but distance our hearts from Him. We have the fear of Him by rote, and we give Him lip service, mas svatayim. He's not interested. He wants our hearts. He loves us. He wants that love back. He wants to live in the land of Emmanuel, which is the home he's been waiting to reside in. And we've not allowed him. And our institutions preempted it, as we've discussed. We talked previously about the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. You know, if we were wise people, we would have feared God a long time ago, when the first curses and punishments caught up with us. There would be no destruction of the first temple or the second temple or the exile of the 10 tribes. We've got a history that's, I don't know, shoot yourself in the foot is just kind, you know. What people does this? It's impossible to fathom such self-destructive, suicidal stubbornness. Whoever you are, a rabbi, a layperson, a Levite, anyone involved with a group of people, remind them it's a serious time now. The people who are out to get the Jews, the satanic forces that are put into play, from our perspective and from Hashem's perspective, they're corrective forces as well as punishments. You're supposed to trip one, cut your finger, tape it up, and never do it again. But we sacrifice our wives, our children, our babies, over and over and over again. There's something wrong with us. And the only cure will not be reading Tehillim by rote or praying by rote, but by reading the Torah, the Tanach, and learning what Hashem really wants of you and taking Him seriously. We're gonna do that anyway. The question is, are we going to come trembling, looking for Hashem? Or are we going to be joyful at the defeat of our enemies and the fact that we're all intact and alive? We have incredible Mesirat Nefesh with our soldiers. I love you guys. You know, I was one of you once, but I never did what you did. Your heroism was something in my mind. With you, it's in the field of battle, day by day. And nothing deters you. May Hashem bless you and love you and fight with you and give you the victories that only He can give us. And may you watch the miraculous arms of Hashem destroying our enemies in only the way that He can. So, I'm wishing you all a good week. Shavua Tov. And may this Shabbat Nachamu bring us the comfort and the victory, the peace and the liberation that we hope for.